Hi, I'm Mike, founder of GoodBed.com. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Tempur-Breeze collection of mattresses from Tempur-Pedic, which has been updated for 2023. We're going to tell you all about it. Stick around. At a high level, one of the things we like to do at the beginning of these videos is give you a sense of what these mattresses all have in common. And we're talking about 5 total models in this case. There's 3 LuxeBreeze and 2 ProBreeze. Within that, there's going to be 2 hybrids, one at the LuxeBreeze level and one at the ProBreeze level. The rest are all foam mattresses, but really all 5 of them are going to be memory foam mattresses with a lot of that slow melting memory sensation that really all Tempur-Pedic mattresses are known for. And then on top of that, they've layered advanced cooling features onto those. So now let's talk a bit about what some of those cooling features are, because if you're watching this video, there's a good chance that these are important to you, and there's certainly things that Tempur-Pedic leans into heavily when they market this collection. And the first thing I want to do is point you to a video that we did when they first came out with the Tempur-Breeze collection, because the fundamental science that they based this feature set on has not changed. What they've done in a sense here with this 2023 refresh is just improve upon the performance of these products, but they're still measuring that performance the same way. They're still using a lot of the fundamental building blocks that they came out with a few years ago. They've just made improvements incrementally, which we will explain in this video. But I do want to refer you to that original video because we had lots of really helpful demos. We had video of the materials themselves that I think you're going to find useful to help you understand how this technology works, if you're so inclined to want to understand those types of things. So definitely check that video out. We're linking to it from this one. So with that said, let's pick up where we left off in that last video and talk about what has changed and improved in this current lineup of Tempur-Breeze mattresses. And I'd single out 2 key areas. Number one is what they've done to the feels. Specifically, they have created a slightly wider array of feels, most notably by adding a 5th model to the collection. They now have a hybrid option at the Luxe level of the Breeze collection. And they've also improved some of the pressure relieving characteristics with some advanced formulations of foam. We'll get into more of that in a little bit. But the most notable area of improvements and changes that they've made relate to the cooling capabilities, of course. This is what you're most likely to hear about in the marketing of this collection as well. You may have heard, if you've had been shopping anytime in the last year for a mattress or so, you might have heard Tempur-Pedic talking about how the Tempur-Breeze mattresses have been measured to perform 8 degrees cooler than a standard mattress without these cooling capabilities. Well, what they've done here in this current lineup is they've enhanced that, measured the same way, which is basically looking at the underbed climate, like a little microclimate under your covers, not under your bed, under your covers, and looking at the heat index, essentially a measure of both the heat and the humidity in that undercover microclimate. And they've been able to make some improvements that have allowed these mattresses with these cooling features to get another 2 degrees of coolness. So it's now 10 degrees cooler than it would be without these cooling features, as opposed to 8 degrees in the previous version of the Tempur-Breeze collection. That's at the Luxe level, of course. At the Pro level, they've also added 2 degrees of coolness. So it's kind of just, they've stepped up the coolness across the board here with these new cooling features. So that's the key improvement. Now, the next question that many of you might be wondering is, how did they do that? Well, at the ProBreeze level, they essentially, at a high level, took some of the features and characteristics that were delivering additional coolness at the LuxeBreeze level previously, and they were able to pull those down to the ProBreeze level in order to deliver enhanced coolness at that ProBreeze level. So one example of that would be the use of additional perforations in some of the foam layers, essentially like punching holes in some of those foam layers, which does deliver additional vertical airflow opportunities in the mattress. At the Luxe level, this is where they had to kind of push the frontier out, coming up with new innovations that could deliver additional coolness than they were previously able to get. And a couple examples of how they were able to do that: the top layer of foam previously in both the Luxe and the Pro levels was what they called Tempur Climate material. Well, they now call that Pure Cool. But in the LuxeBreeze models, they've actually come up with a new formulation of that Pure Cool foam. They call it Pure Cool Plus, and it basically has even more airflow than the previous formulation. So that's one way that they've been able to deliver additional coolness to the LuxeBreeze models than they were previously able to get. Another way is the inner panel, which is essentially another fabric layer that's right underneath the cover. Right underneath the zip-off cover, there's another fabric layer on top of the foam, and that they've actually figured out a way to make that 50% more breathable. So that's another way that they've been able to increase airflow and therefore add additional coolness at this LuxeBreeze level. Now, continuing on the theme of characteristics and features that all 5 of these new Tempur-Breeze models have in common, let's talk about this cover. This is a new cover. However, it is used across all 5 of the models. It does have that higher density yarn that we talked about in the previous video. It essentially has a higher molecular weight, thereby giving it more of an inherent coolness in the same way that a denser material like marble would have more coolness than a less dense material like wood. And so that's present in all of these covers. You'll also notice just aesthetically they added this sparkle to it. It's a like small bit of metallic fiber in there as well, which is kind of a cool visual effect. It almost gives the cover the appearance of like new fallen snow when you see it, the light catch those metal flecks. But that's present. It's a stretch cover. It's present on all the mattresses, and it's also worth noting that it is removable. So, and there's no phase change material on this cover, so no worries about that being kind of washed off or what have you. So that's a nice thing as well. In terms of underneath the cover, we talked about the inner panel and its breathability, but also it's worth noting that all of these mattresses have a layer of phase change material applied to their top layer of foam. So basically right beneath these covers, the inner panel and the main cover is going to be that phase change material, which, as we explained in the other video, is essentially a way that heat can get pulled away from your body. It creates coolness in those first kind of 15 to 30 minutes while you need it to kind of get comfortable and fall asleep. Underneath the phase change material, not necessarily directly underneath it, but at somewhere in each of these mattresses is also something that Tempur-Pedic calls advanced pressure relieving material, APR foam. This was a foam that they first launched a few years back with their LuxeAdapt collection, and it is their kind of highest pressure relieving capability foam. And now it is present in all of the Breeze models. In the previous collection, it was only found at the Luxe level, but they've been able to bring it now to the Pro level as well. And then below that, all of these mattresses now at both the Pro level and the Luxe level also have perforation at some levels of the mattress to help increase airflow within those foam layers of the mattress. So overall, those are some of the characteristics and features that you're going to find across this entire Breeze collection. Now, in terms of the step up of what you get as you upgrade to the LuxeBreeze from the ProBreeze in this new collection, there's really a few things here. Obviously, one of the keys is that additional cooling. That's essentially 5 additional degrees of cooling capability that you're getting at the Luxe level here, as actually measured by this scientific method. The second thing you're getting really is some advanced pressure relieving capabilities here. You're really going to notice it most in terms of the amount of that kind of classic Tempur memory feel. You just get a lot more of that on these Luxe models. They're an inch thicker, but I perceive at least a lot more of that kind of slow melting memory sensation on really all 3 of the Luxe levels than on the Pro levels. So to the extent that that's a feel that you really like, you definitely are going to get more of that, as well as some of the benefits that that brings in terms of the pressure relieving capabilities and so forth, and the conforming and likewise. We talked about how this Pure Cool Plus layer, which is at the top of these LuxeBreeze models, it actually is specifically designed to enhance pressure relieving capabilities in addition to the additional airflow that it offers on the cooling side. So those are kind of the main things. They also do, in the hybrid one, they also have a higher coil count. We'll talk a little bit more about that when we talk about the LuxeBreeze hybrid. Okay, so now let's get into the specific models available in this Tempur-Breeze collection. And we're going to start at the Pro level, where you have 2 choices, the medium and the medium hybrid. The medium being an all foam construction, and the hybrid being a mattress that uses pocket springs for its support instead of a foam core. And really here at this level, the choice is just going to be about your feel preference. And even there, the differences here are going to be pretty small. Overall, we would rate both of these very similarly in terms of their feel characteristics, with the most obvious exception being in the area of bounce, where of course the hybrid, because of the springs, is going to have some amount of deep bounce when you kind of plop your full weight down on the mattress, whereas the foam version will pretty much have none of that. And nor do either of them have any bounce kind of at the top of the mattress. So overall, even in the area of bounce, the level of distinction is not massive in the scheme of all mattresses, but certainly that is the most demonstrable area of difference in feel here with these two mattresses. I also want to point out that as we assess softness, we use a little bit different terminology than Tempur-Pedic, and as well as different than some other manufacturers too. But Tempur-Pedic, when they talk about softness, they're generally talking about how deeply do you sink into the mattress, how much does it conform to you, softer being more, firmer being less. We generally divide that into sort of two separate characteristics. We talk about what Tempur-Pedic calls softness, we refer to as cushioning depth. That's how deeply you sink in, how much hugged or cradled versus floating on top. What we call softness is really more about the amount of kind of initial surface softness to the touch that you experience on a mattress. So it's just a difference in vernacular. In terms of how we characterize by our definition, softness of these two mattresses, the medium and the medium hybrid, we would actually characterize them both as a firm on our softness spectrum. Probably the medium hybrid is just a tad softer than the medium. However, we'd still classify them in the same overall bucket. We would classify them both as having deeper than average cushioning on our on that metric. And of course, they both have quite a bit more than average memory feel, giving you that kind of slow melting sensation and that kind of delayed recovery and conformance that comes with that memory feel. And then, like I said, the medium has pretty much no bounce to speak of, whereas the ProBreeze has some bounce, although still not even, still probably average or maybe even slightly less than average amount of bounce. None of those things, by the way, are a better or worse. Those are all about your personal preference. So just worth noting there. In terms of fit, we would probably characterize both of these mattresses as ideal for side sleepers, really of a wide range of weights. In general, mattresses of this type of construction with a lot of that memory feel, a lot of that deeper than average cushioning and conformance, we generally don't recommend those types of mattresses for stomach sleepers or heavier back sleepers even, because there are generally a little bit better options for those types of folks. But side sleepers are gonna really benefit from all those same characteristics. So I think it would be a great fit, either of these for most side sleepers. And in terms of other characteristics, I do wanna point out that in terms of the pressure relief, which I think is an important characteristic for a lot of people who are looking at this type of mattress and who are looking at the Tempur-Pedic brand, I did feel that the pressure relieving capabilities at the ProBreeze level were improved as a result of that APR material being brought from the LuxeBreeze level down to the ProBreeze in this new lineup. And as a result, we did actually increase the scores of those, the pressure relief ratings a little bit relative to what we had in the previous version of the ProBreeze. They were already pretty good, mind you, so the scores didn't increase a whole lot, given that they were already quite high, but we did observe an improvement there. All right, so now we've moved up to the LuxeBreeze level. And again, there is 3 models at this level of the collection. You have the firm, the soft, and the medium hybrid. So the firm and the soft both being all foam constructions, meaning they've got a foam core as their support layer, whereas the medium hybrid is going to use a layer of pocketed springs as its support layer. And I think it's a good opportunity here to just point out briefly that the spring layer is a little different at the Lux level than it is at the Pro level. At the Pro level, it's a pretty standard sheet of pocket springs, 1100 coil count in a queen size. And then at the Lux level, it's actually a coil-on-coil type of construction. So the total coil count is 1,350 in a queen size. So more coils, but they're actually a little bit wider than they are in the Pro level, and then they're just stacked one on top of the other in that coil-on-coil construction. So just a little different, but in both cases, they are going to have a foam perimeter going around the edge of the mattress to give more edge support. And that is something that we have observed here, is that in general, the hybrid models have a little bit better edge support than their foam counterparts at each of the levels here, the Pro and the Luxe level. Now, with all that being said, I do think that the key distinction here that you're going to be making as you choose which of these LuxeBreeze models is best for you is likely to be most about the feel, and finding the feel that is best suited for you in terms of both your preferences, as well as in terms of what's going to fit your body, shape, size, sleep position, and so forth, from the standpoint of delivering you the spinal alignment and pressure relief that you need from your mattress. Overall, I think the cooling characteristics you're going to get pretty consistently across all three of these, although arguably you might get a little bit more airflow in the hybrid because of the presence of those springs. But nonetheless, I think the key thing here is going to be finding the feel that works best for you. In terms of the feel, what we found is that in terms of the softness, we would classify the firm as an extra firm on our softness spectrum. We would classify the soft as actually a firm on our softness spectrum. And just to illustrate this, I mean, you could see what we mean by firm is like that kind of initial firmness to the touch that you have here. But again, the conformance we'll talk about in a second is going to be certainly different between these. The softest in our softness classification would probably be the medium hybrid, which we just barely sneak out of firm and into medium firm in our softness spectrum. Extra firm, firm, and medium firm would be our assessments here. In terms of cushioning depth, we would put it in the same order as Tempur-Pedic has it. The deepest cushioning would be the one I'm on right here, which is the soft. That's going to have the most kind of hugged or cradled sensation, sort of sleeping in your mattress. The least of that would be the firm, where you're going to be more of that sleeping on your mattress, although still in our classification, still deeper than average. But of the three, it has sort of the shallowest cushioning and the most sleeping on your mattress type of sensation. And then of course the medium hybrid is somewhere in between, although we probably classify that one a little closer to the soft, not sort of directly in the middle between the two. And then in terms of memory feel, they're really all going to have a lot of that slow melting, delayed responsiveness that memory foam is known for, that kind of ride as you get on the mattress and you kind of just have that slow melting sensation that has you kind of settle into the mattress and as it conforms to your body's curves. You're going to get a lot of that delayed recovery, especially on the two all foam constructions. You still get a lot of it on the medium hybrid, but they do have a faster formulation in there that is a little bit, so there's some of the slow stuff, but also some of a faster recovery foam in there. So it kind of doesn't have quite as much of that. So if you're looking for a little bit less, but still good amount of that memory feel, this hybrid could be a good option on that front. And then of course, last characteristic that we talk about on the feel side is bounce. And here again, you're going to have literally no bounce to speak of when it comes to either the firm or the soft, but you are going to have a little bit of deep bounce when it comes to the medium hybrid. Although because of the shock absorbing memory foam up on top of the mattress, it's mitigated to a degree. So we'd still say probably less than average amount of bounce overall, but certainly the most of these LuxeBreeze mattresses. And then in terms of matching body types, shapes, I would generally recommend for back sleepers, I'd probably recommend either the firm or the medium hybrid could be two good options. If you're a heavier back sleeper, probably lean more towards the firm. A lighter back sleeper probably could go with either, but maybe the medium hybrid might give you a slight edge. Side sleepers probably best suited on the soft, but also the medium hybrid could be a good option for those as well. And I probably would say stomach sleepers, probably the firm would be the best option. Heavier stomach sleepers, like I was saying with the ProBreeze, generally I'd look for other options that don't have as much conformance as these Breeze models tend to have. But if you are, let's say you're a combination sleeper where you sleep on your stomach along with other positions, well, one interesting option here is that, and we're going to talk about it in a separate video, but Tempur-Pedic has a new lineup of adjustable bases, all of which have a lumbar support feature to them that actually elevates the lumbar area of the mattress. And so if you are a combination sleeper that does spend a little bit of time on your stomach, but maybe not enough to choose your mattress based on that solely, you can pair one of these mattresses with one of these Tempur-Pedic adjustable bases, and when you're on your stomach, I did find that lifting up that lumbar area, it's not exactly where I'd want it to kind of lift my hips up out of the mattress. However, it helps quite a bit. It does help, so it mitigates the concerns that I have about pairing a stomach sleeper with a more conforming mattress. So just something to consider. All right, so there you have it. We hope you found that to be a helpful overview of the newly updated collection of Tempur-Breeze mattresses. For more of the best information on how to find the right mattress for you, go to goodbed.com. In the meantime, thanks for watching, and we really hope you sleep well.